We're using proxies because there's no study that I'm aware of that's actually looking at fasting insulin levels or OGTT, oral glucose tolerance testing, and lipid levels in cardiovascular disease.
So instead of using proxies, though, wouldn't it be safer to not only do all of the lifestyle practices, sleep hygiene, et cetera, and optimize everything the best you can, but in addition, use pharmacology just in case when the side effects of the pharmacology have not, at least of current medication progression, is not that significant relative to what is otherwise a potential propensity to the highest cause of death in the country? Because it's like...
Who are we? No, I disagree with you. No, I wouldn't do that. So who are we talking about? Are we talking about someone that's insulin sensitive or someone that's insulin resistant?
Both.
So you're asking me if I would recommend lipid lowering pharmacology.
Yeah, like somebody has like a low fasting insulin, and you can, from all metrics, at least discern that they're probably reasonably insulin sensitive and healthy individuals metabolically.
Right.
But then they have sky high ApoBs, LP little A's, all.
How high is sky high?
I don't know. Does it matter?
Well, do we have normal thyroid function?
Sure.
Then I think that no, I wouldn't recommend that. I guess do they have a genetic polymorphism we can tie to FH? Like, how high is their ApoB? I mean, because what I see in myself. So
but it's like the actual classification of FH, even though you might disagree with it, it's like you could still have the numbers.
Right.
And you could have a myriad of different ways you got there compared to the next person. So maybe it's not the one that you were referring to earlier, but you still arrived there via whatever unique predispositions you have. In that individual, you don't even know what genetics you have or don't have because they haven't been explored yet. So like, isn't it safer to hedge when you could use something that, you know will attenuate atherosclerosis development and has a relatively minor impact on quality of life?
See, that's where I disagree with you. I think, like, are we talking about statins? Are we talking about PCSK9?
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, there's different drugs that are more or less impactful on side effect profiles. So that's why I'm kind of asking, is there ever a situation because again, the classification, if you're genetically predisposed or if you fall into this camp of you have significant enough gene mutations for me to qualify you for drugs, like where does that threshold lie where it's like you're insulin sensitive by any metric that I can discern, but you still have like really high atherogenic burden potential, maybe via your lipid profile? Like, where do you draw the line of intervening with, and obviously the drug selection, like there are certain things you can use that are not going to cause myopathy or things that are really even noticeable from a side effect profile.
Right. So you're describing someone with a, quote, sky high ApoB.
Sure.
With a
rock bottom fasting insulin. And normal thyroid.
This sky high ApoB. I mean, my LDL-C is 150 milligrams per deciliter. Is that sky high?
Let's just say over the reference range.
Yeah, so I would be over the reference range. And I think,
just like in general.
And I think in this situation, absolutely not. I would never use a statin in this situation for me. I don't think anyone should be taking.
What's your ApoB?
I'd have to look at it. Yeah.
Do you have it by chance?
Let's see. So the last time I had my ApoB checked was March of this year, and it was 139.
Okay, so perfect. So
139 milligrams per deciliter. Previously, it was 93. So I had one that was 93 and one that was 139.
Okay, so like the 139 by standards of LabCorp, they'd be like, okay, you're kind of in sketch territory.
Right.
And by cardiologists, presumably, they would say similar.
Right.
But you have a rock bottom fasting insulin, or as low as you need it to be considered metabolically healthy and your thyroid's good.
Yep.
In that circumstance, any individual who fits this criteria without any obvious genetic predispositions through the traditional, at least known predispositions, because, it could be an array of things that we don't know about that exist, you would say no pharmacology.
I would
stick with
I
it.
I would not take statins for me.
I'm not saying statins. I'm saying drugs in general, because we can get really progressive on some of these drugs that are very, very well tolerated in contrast to like the worst class of medications.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say pharmacology in that situation. I think
no bempedoic acid, no ezetimibe, no Repatha,
no,
nothing.
No,